All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Livemasters ShowCase. I have two very special guests, Javi and Jessica, and whoa, they have an incredible story. I got to meet them here online, and this is what's really cool. One of the things I love most about Facebook and getting online and networking and connecting and actually getting to know people, you get to hear their stories. And when you hear other people's stories, we all know that it can be so powerful because usually it can relate to you. And I hope in this video, as you get to know Javi and Jessica, then you can kind of maybe put yourself in their shoes with somebody, not yourself, but somebody that you know, like, or care about. So this is Chavez Live 360 brought to you by Livemasters. And I'm going to turn it over to Javi and Jessica real quick. Let them introduce themselves while I invite some people to check out this broadcast. Whoever wants to talk first, you guys
introduce yourself. I'll go first. So I'm Javi, my wife Jessica. We are the founders of Underdog Ninja. Underdog Ninja is our foundation where we help others fight heart disease. I'm a heart disease survivor, or I like to call myself a heart disease warrior. Because that's what it is. It feels like I've been battling this for over a decade, for about 15 years now, and it's a fight, it's a battle, and so that's why I hold that with pride. I fight this every day, but I feel like I'm not only just surviving, I'm thriving, and that's what we try to get our people, this community. In our foundation, we try to get them from that confusion stage. They leave their doctor's office confused. The doctor says, "Hey, you need to lose weight. You need to eat right, and here's a pile of medication," and then send them on their way. A lot of times, they don't know where to go. Yeah. They're just confused, so they search the internet and they head down the wrong path. They feel hopeless. And so I know that. I've experienced it myself. I've been there. And so it's been our passion to help others. Yeah. And so we started this foundation to do just that. And we're seeing great results. Like I said, I've been fighting this for a long time. I have it's hereditary. My father died at an early age, at 48 years old. His brother died at 48 years old, both for after a heart attack, after massive heart attack with coronary artery disease. The males in my family, we start getting it. We start getting signs, at our late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. I know my dad had his first heart attack around 35 years old. And back then there wasn't so much available to him. There was a limited amount of information on how to really fight this. And I knew that heart disease ran in my family. And so what I did is I tried to take care of myself as best as I knew how, right? And I thought the best way to do that is to stay healthy by working out.
You worked out like 3 hours a day too.
3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And but that
you have a gym down. You have a gym like down in your basement and everything. You do workouts with the kids and whatnot down there, right?
Yeah, I've been blessed with this huge garage, and I took up a good amount, half of the garage. I still have enough room in that garage to still park my car, but no, I have a really nice gym now. But yeah, I always, my dad worked out also at an early age. I'm growing up in the gym. That's me and my dad. We always had a gym with us in our garage or what have you. And, but no matter how well I thought I was taking care of myself, the disease kept coming. Yeah. And then I tried to do my best with my nutrition, with what maybe dietitians were telling me or what I was reading in books or the literature at the time. And that didn't stop the disease. The disease kept coming. Okay.
Mm.
But anyway, so at age 38, I had the first of 2 stents placed. And that's when I really was told, because I had a lot of problems before that, but it was finally that the doctors realized that I had some serious problems going on.
So not to interrupt you, but what led up to the stents? Like, were you having heart attacks? Were you, I mean, what was it? Because you're like, at 38, I had 2 stents, but so give us a better idea of what led up to that, to get that first procedure.
Well, the thing is that because I've always been aware of my history, but I was very keenly aware of my body because I've always took care of myself. I knew what my limits were and how what I could handle. So to be honest, I was at the gym and I noticed that I was getting really fatigued very quickly. And at first I ignored it. I thought, well, maybe I just been working a little too hard. Maybe I was just doing too much. So I kind of backed off a little bit, let it go. Then the next day, doing the very same thing that I've been doing for a while, I couldn't do. And then I remember leaving the gym, going home, and I had some stairs in my house. It was a 2-story home, and I was winded just going up a few flights of stairs. And so I got into the doctor right away, and I went to my doctor. They sent me right to the emergency room, and then they set me up for a heart cath, and that's what they told me. I had I started getting chest pain. I started getting winded, and it's something I never really felt before. I mean, yeah, I got, I'll get some, some heartburn now and then at the time, but nothing like the pain I was feeling. It was like going right through me. So yeah, they told me how progressed my plaquing was, and what was really going on. My lipid levels, my cholesterol levels, were through the roof.
Yeah. So his cholesterol, when he was first diagnosed, and since, let me cut forward. Since then, he's been diagnosed with familial hyperlipidemia, which is a form of hypercholesterolemia, and that's just a big word for genetic heart disease with your cholesterol. Okay, but he was diagnosed with cholesterol levels a total of over 500 when he hadn't had any treatment yet. So that's nuts. And just think, well, what do I do? What do I do? And he didn't have any heart attacks. He only had his only heart attack was just last September due to blood clotting, which didn't have anything to do with blood or plaquing or cholesterol levels. But so he was lucky enough to not have any actual heart attacks until recently. But this was all like just symptoms, angina, fatigue, shortness of breath. So he's always been really keenly aware of his body. He's exactly right. This is one of the number one reasons he has been so successful in navigating heart disease, even though he's had so much done, and he'll tell you the rest of his story. But it's because he's paying attention so closely to his symptoms and his body that he has been able to get into the doctor before he has a heart attack.
Yeah,
Right.
it's exactly right. And most of the time when I was feeling symptoms afterwards, it was in the gym or after a workout. And so yeah, they gave me medications. I remember my first cardiologist. He told me exactly what a lot of doctors tell people is that you have this disease and you have to do something about it. But here's a stack of medication we're going to put you on. List the side effects, by the way. They won't tell you right away. And then we're going to try different things. And what we need you to do, you need to do your part by losing weight and watching what you eat. What does that mean? I don't know. That's about it. And then they'll send you maybe to cardiac rehab, and it's even more confusing a lot of times. It all depends. I think, to be honest, to be truthful, I think nowadays going through cardiac rehab, they're starting to come around. I actually, behind me, I have a bunch of books from doctors that have studied plant-based eating. Okay.
Right.
And before in cardiac rehab, you would never see those books, but I've seen those. They're starting to be there. They're starting to at least be on their shelf. They might be collecting dust.
But they're there.
Right.
We're getting
Well,
somewhere.
that's a really cool part of your story too. That I already know, where you eventually met a doctor because you were in the hospital, and he really started educating you on all this, right?
Oh yeah. So by that time she was mentioned it. Well, just before that, 2018.
It was July of 2018, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many.
So I had just quick rundown. So I had that stent. 2 years later, I had quadruple bypass. Okay. And but I kept doing what I've been doing, trying to take care of myself, try to eat right. And I thought I was doing good. 6 years had passed. Okay. And then I started developing problems again. And so I had another stent placed, and then I moved over here to Seattle, and I started having some problems. It came quick this time.
Every year he had stents for a little while.
This time it changed. It came so quick. And went to the hospital, and I couldn't believe what was happening. I'm like, how could it be that? No way, because I had gone so long, and I thought everything was good. And sure enough, no, I'm in serious danger. I remember being in the emergency room. Yeah. She was just as confused, and we didn't know what was going to happen next. I remember just praying to God, just tell me what I need to do. Tell me what it is. I'll just do it. I don't care if it's my diet. I'll dial it in even more. I'll eat cardboard if I have to. I just don't want my life to end now. I have so much more to live for, so much more to do. And I was just begging God in that emergency room. And then not a few minutes later, this doctor comes in, this emergency room doctor. He wasn't a cardiologist. He was a internal medicine doctor. He comes in, he's doing his rotation, and he tells me what's going on and what they're going to do. They're going to admit me, and they're going to schedule me for another cath. And he's looking at my chart. He sees how serious of a progression of the disease I've had so far. And he sits down, he starts telling me his own personal story. And he's very honest with me. He goes, look, I don't normally do this, but I know that you're trying to take care of yourself. I know that you want to fight this disease. Let me tell you my story. And he went in and he's telling me his story about him and his wife, and his wife's story, and how reading this book by Dr. Furman, and how eating a plant-based diet can reverse disease. And so he didn't even say that. He just referred me to the book. He said, look, this book's going to change your life if you're brave enough to read it and to apply it. Yeah. And that doctor stuck with me. I was in the hospital for about 4 days. He came to visit me every day. He didn't have to. And he gave me education and sat with me for a few hours, just talking to me and helping me to understand how the body works with flooding our body with healthy nutrition, with flooding our body with micronutrients and what our cells do and what our cells need. Our DNA is our DNA. There's nothing we could do about that. But what we feed our cells, it changes everything. It gives us, It gives us the ability, our body's the ability to properly fight any illnesses, any type of, whether it's a cold, flu, or disease. I mean, you know, I believe that that's what God designed our bodies to do. And so, but when we start feeding it junk and processed foods, with high salt, we get swelled up. You know,
well, it only makes sense. I mean, your body's designed to process anything that is put into it. And if it doesn't recognize it as something natural, it's not going to process it, and it's going to put your body in a dis-ease state, right?
Yes, exactly. And so what your body is having to do, because you're feeding it all this junk, that it's not getting the nutrients. So it's sucking the nutrients that it's starving for. It's trying to find all the nutrients it can, and then it has to adapt. It has to adapt to get energy level or whatever you're taxing your body with. And you know, that's when you start seeing abnormalities.
And you touched on the point too about your genes. Your genes are what they are, but there are genes that are non-actionable, like your hair color, your eye color, and everything. And then there's the actionable genes, which you inherited from your parents, as far this heart thing, right? You already know that's there, but you made the decision because of your lifestyle choices, and now it's going to, if every 120 days your cells replicate, something like that.
Your whole body actually completely replicates itself once a year. And so if we can do that, then we need to get out of the way, right? We need to pull all the stuff out of the way. So I noticed you have a comment of what's the book's name. So actually there's, at this point, let me fast forward. Now, keep in mind, when he was talking about with his journey, okay, we didn't understand why this was happening, because he had a quadruple bypass, and up to date now he's had 10 stents and a triple heart attack. Okay, so a lot of that has been overcome simply because we were actually doing this and fighting the battle of heart disease by being preventative, even with the progression of his disease, to a point where doctors would say, you know, you wouldn't have survived this heart attack if you wouldn't have been treating your body this way to begin with. So even though he had a quadruple bypass and all these stents, when he had that heart attack in September, again, that was from blood clotting. You know, they were trying to deal with what was going on. They, at the end of that, a triple heart attack, they said, you actually don't have any heart damage. And the only reason that's true is because you've been eating plant-based, you've been working out, you've been keeping your inflammation down, and you've been feeding your body what it needs, and it's able to fight this, and you were able to recover quite quickly. That's never the story. It's just not. And it's like a miracle, but you know, it's because we were being proactive. So the books that we recommend now, because we've done so much research, that was over 2 years ago that we heard about the book, and it's called Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He's actually rewritten that book. It's called Eat for Life, which is his updated version. But we've read the China study by Dr. Campbell. There's The End of Heart Disease by Dr. Fuhrman. There's let's see, Dr. Greger's How Not to Die, How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Esselstyn, and I could give you a longer list. There's so many books out there, and doctors, and actually for decades now, that they've been promoting. It's plant-based, but it's not just plant-based, you guys. It's heart-healthy plant-based. A lot of plant-based diets out there aren't helping people because they still eat the salt, they still eat the oil, they still eat the sugar. Okay, that's basically, I would say, being vegan. There's not that element that is preventing disease, though. That's just saying you're not eating meat and dairy, and that's fine, but that's not preventing disease. And so these people have been teaching this for a long time. And in fact, somebody said to me the other day, well, that's old research. Well, then look up the Plantrition Project. That's a brand new research organization that's actually getting into the hospitals and the medical world right now, trying to battle how the hospitals are dealing with nutrition while people are in the hospital. So these are all huge things that are really out there going on right now, backing up plant-based nutrition. And it's not research that the reason why we're thriving. It's because we've done it. We've actually reversed part of his disease. In fact, the last time he went in, he had to have a follow-up recently from his heart attack, where they were repairing and stenting one of his native arteries. It's just a leftover thing from the heart attack. But they said, your grafts where you had fatty deposits a couple of years ago are 100% clear. So he's actually reversed plaquing. And people want to know if that's possible. Yes, it's 100% possible. It takes time and it takes hard work, but it's possible. And that's why we teach what we teach to people. That's why we coach people. It doesn't have to be this way without hope, with confusion, feeling trapped by heart disease. It just doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you actually, real quick, Javi, I'm really glad that you touched on the fact that, yeah, you could be plant-based, basically vegan, right, or whatever, but still eat all the crap. There's definitely vegan junk food, and you could be eating just as unhealthy because beer and French fries are vegan, right?
Right. Yeah. Oreos are vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Javi?
No, you know, she mentioned a couple of things. You know, that last incident when I told you about the doctor coming in and telling me about it. I had a couple more stents placed in that during that visit, and I didn't want it. At that point, I knew I had to turn things around. And what they found out during that study is that my bypass grafts that I had back in 2008 had begun to plaque, and not one, but I was showing plaque in all 4 that they had placed. And that was devastating news to me, because that meant in order to save my life, either I was going to have another massive heart attack and not survive, or I had, you know, I just didn't have a good road ahead of me. Maybe another bypass. I didn't want that. So I was very motivated to jump into this new nutrition lifestyle head first, 100%, 150%.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed to turn this around quickly.
We drove home and I threw everything out of our house and I said, guess what we're doing from now on?
And that's true.
And that's exactly what happened. It took us 7 days to give away our meat. That's all that happened. I went through, I shoved everything out of our house. I said, you're living until you're 100. If I have anything to say about it.
Just for shopping too.
But
all my snacks gone.
And so we were very motivated. Yeah.
So okay, then so what happened was, and so what? How then did a person that was living this lifestyle? Then how did I have a heart attack? Well, the thing is I was really motivated to get those numbers down, get off my medication, and month after month after month, I was making progress.
Yeah.
Progress I had never seen in this battle. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, lipid levels that were so low, they were like, what? The doctors are, what are you doing?
His LDL was 14.
And that was impossible.
What was it before? You said it was what?
Oh, it was like 150 or something.
Yeah. So you have total,
14.
You have total cholesterol, and you have different levels, right? You have HDL, which is good cholesterol. Your triglycerides, okay, which is your diet. It points to your diet, and that was always about 350 or more.
Yeah.
Okay, no matter what medication I was on. And then your LDL, your bad cholesterol. And so, yeah, I would range between close to about 200 in my LDL most of the time, even trying to take care of myself.
Okay, so I want to say a couple of things here too. I know we're just kind of jumping around, but there's a lot. It's a long story. But he's statin resistant. So he can't even take statins because every time he would, they would give him severe side effects like muscle pain that was like they were ripping, and he'd have to keep switching statins every couple of years, and they wouldn't really bring his cholesterol down the way that they should have. And so it was terrible for him. So he got on Repatha, which a year or two ago, and Repatha has made a massive difference in just the LDL. But when he was off Repatha, he actually, just with his nutrition, just with plant-based, keep in mind, he has that familial, hyperlipidemia, right? So there's that genetic element. He was able to still bring his LDL down to 100. But if you want to reverse heart disease, you got to bring it down below 70. So we made the decision saying, well, if you've got this genetic issue, you got to go a little bit lower. He went back on the Repatha, and his LDL's down at like 20 again.
Right.
But he was able, with no medication, bring his LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, down to 100. That is incredible, because so many people with genetic issues say, well, diet doesn't make any difference. Yes, it does. And we've proven that. But we made the decision that for longevity's sake, of course, we're going to go on a medication that works wonders for him, and it's not a statin. And so that's the only medication that he's really on. And then the blood thinners, which is what you were getting to.
Yeah. So I was I was trying to get off that medication. The doctors were like, yeah, let's take off. You don't need this. You don't need this. I was off my blood pressure medicine. I was basically off my statin. And the last thing was was my blood thinner. Mm-hmm. And they put you on this blood thinner after they place a stent, usually for a year, and then once you pass the year, then you could get off of it. And so what happened was I got off of it, and I was so happy that day. And then 2 weeks later, I'm getting ready for work. I get off a conference call. I have a home office, and then I work out in the field. So I was on a conference call in my house, and we have a 2-story home. And she homeschools, so she was upstairs homeschooling the kids. And I packing my bag, ready to walk out of my office, and like a truck hit me right smack dab in the middle of my chest. I was out of breath within seconds. My health was declining very quickly. I couldn't call out to her. I tried to call out to her upstairs. She couldn't hear me. So I had to slowly get upstairs and yell as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I made my way to a sofa upstairs, and I was going down very quickly. Thank goodness the paramedics got here, and they rushed me to the hospital, lights and sirens to the hospital. My doc was waiting for me at the door. They rushed me directly to the cath lab, had me stented. All that happened from incident to placement of another stent in an hour. That was like record time. Mm-hmm. And they saved my life. But what happened was the blood, it was a blood clot. My blood, it kept clotting. They would place the stent, it failed. They placed another stent and it failed. Mm-hmm. So they placed the other stent and they thought it was going to be okay. I went back to my room. And then that night I had another heart attack, massive heart attack. And yeah, it failed. And then I had one other one after that. Yeah. But it took me a while to regain myself. It was my first heart attack. Never want one again. But I've had to go back in recently to get some things addressed that weren't addressed during my heart attack. So, but when they went in there, the reason why I'm telling you this long story, because in 2 years, they went back in, they fixed the one problem, but those other grafts that I have, in 2 years, they've cleared up.
100%.
They don't see any signs. And by the way, they thought, during my heart attack, they said I probably had some heart damage, and I have no heart damage. They don't see signs of heart damage. Okay. I do. Is it challenging? Yes, it's been challenging.
Can cardiac muscle scar?
Yeah. It dies.
Yeah. It doesn't really scar. You lose that function. So anybody in the heart disease community will know what EF is, and it's ejection fraction rate. And what that means is that is the rate of how your heart is pumping the blood, and the pressure that the amount of energy that it has, the pressure that it has pumping, squeezing that is the squeeze rate, right? So 75% is kind of the top, and it goes down from there. So when people say they have like a 55 to 65, that's pretty normal. And he left the hospital with like 55, I think, and it's gone up. But some people will have heart attacks. A lot of people in the community we see will have a heart attack and have 13%, 20%. I mean, it's pretty terrifying, for them. And they're like, my heart is just, I have all this heart damage and it doesn't squeeze the way that it should. And it's a scary thing. Okay. So, and people have regained this. So like one of our clients, she started out with, I want to say it was 13 or 20. And she, within a few months, was able to work out and eat right and everything and get that back up to 65, I think, which is unbelievable. And so it can completely regain. But if you have like blood loss to a part of your heart, so for instance, if you have an artery or a graft, like in his case, that stops, it gets blocked altogether, and maybe they can bypass, but that part of the heart, it stops getting blood to it, it dies. I mean, it doesn't, you can't get it back. It's gone
very quickly. And so
I'm sorry. And over time, with all these bypasses and all this work they do on the heart, those little spots they hit weakens the heart over time. That's what you were saying, unless you change everything that you're doing with your diet, right? I mean, are you guys frozen?
There you go.
You're back. So okay. You were saying those little spots they hit what?
Oh, I was saying that when you have these bypasses and these stents that are put in your heart, every time they hit that part of your heart where it loses blood, all that work that gets done in your heart over time just weakens your heart because it's not
Right.
Yeah, it can. And the whole point of the stent is to get blood flow back into the area where it's been limited. Right. So so what happened with this? Like I said, I had this bypass surgery. What happened before recently? I had to go back in. There was an area that they couldn't really get to because it kept clotting, and my doctor was able to get blood flow, good full blood flow to the area that they couldn't do before. It was a really long procedure, but he was determined to get this done for me. And
he did it.
Thank God, yeah. So that's something that's been recent, but yeah, look,
it's incredible.
I want to interrupt because you had a really good question about heart. I wanted to say this. One of the really cool things about our bodies is that just God's amazing, because so many people have come to us and told us this, and I believe this 100% for him too. They've never really pointed to it specifically, but it's obvious this is what's going on, is that our bodies will grow collateral capillaries and blood flow. And so, you know, when you're working out all the time, or just even not all the time, if you're working out consistently, your body starts to grow its own like alternative, and they're not big arteries, okay, mind you, but they're just little capillaries where the heart starts getting fed all this extra blood. And it is really, they call it collateral because it helps support if something were to happen, you know, to one other part of your heart or your arteries, where it saved people's lives. So we've talked to many people where they've had heart attacks and they've had no heart damage because they have so many other supportive capillaries, collateral, that is supporting their heart, that their heart was still able to manage this heart attack, and they survived and recovered well.
Absolutely. I you know, you read different research studies about that, and it's really, it could go back and forth, but there's significant amount of studies out there that show that these collateral arteries that really help in a heart attack or a heart event, the more blood, the better, you know, and in that case, for me, that saved my life. It saved my heart. My heart's thank God, my heart has always been strong through all the different procedures and all the different things I've gone through. It's still strong, but I believe if I continue to neglect my body, continue to starve it of the nutrients that it needed, I would either had severe heart damage after all the heart attacks, the 3 heart attacks, or I wouldn't be here. So, you know, like I said, I'm dedicated to this. I'm so dedicated to this. That's why we created this foundation, and we're reaching out and building a community of other warriors, other people that want to fight back against this disease. And like I said before, you know, we take them from that confusion stage to a point in their life that they are now thriving, and this disease is no longer dictated by this disease. It doesn't control them. They finally have the freedom to thrive with, you know, the rest of their life.
I mean, really, we've seen people just go, you know what, this isn't the box I live inside anymore.
Absolutely.
This isn't.
Man, you do feel like you're in a box. You feel isolated. I know a lot of people after being diagnosed or having a heart attack, you know, unfortunately, they feel alone, and relationships fall apart, and it's a very hard time for people. I know for myself and many others, our world just comes apart. It doesn't stop after the heart attack, and then now all the ripple effects.
Well, family issues, and nobody understands you, and how do I take care of myself? My family doesn't support my nutrition. I'm lost. I feel like I have pain in my body all the time, and I feel like I'm always going to have another heart attack. I mean, we feel you. You know, we know all of those things. We hear it from everybody that we coach. We hear it from the heart disease groups. We know it from our own experience. So it's really a lot of things that you go through with heart disease are very common, and they feel very not common in your own world. They feel very isolated to you, and it's not true.
So those are the three things that we really tackle in our community. We approach not only the plant-based nutrition, of course, but we take them through a fitness program that works the body from the ground up. We address different parts of the body, from the feet all the way to your head, and then we work with them with their mindset on how they're approaching their life, how to put those pieces of their life back together, how to understand that this disease could be the very reason that actually changes them to be the person that they always wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, we say this thing to people all the time, and it sounds so foreign, especially if you're in the grips of heart disease. Is heart disease, what we want to take you to is the point where heart disease is actually the reason that you thrive and not the burden in your life. It's actually the reason that you have a better life and you are a better version of yourself, because it's the challenge, because it's the thing you've overcome.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you have to make a decision once you know the information. This is the same thing what happened to me. Like, I already knew my family health history, right? I didn't have all the health issues that Javi's had. I didn't have any. I haven't had any. I've been blessed, right? But when I saw everything in black and white on a genetic report, I was like, then I looked at my family, then I was like, whatever. And so here's the deal. What I like most about you guys is what you're doing for people that have already gone through what Javi's gone through. That's amazing. But an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So just getting involved in your community, and I've been in there for about 6 or 7 weeks now. I've caught some of your videos. I've caught a lot of the content that you guys are posting, a lot of healthy recipes, a lot of mindset stuff to help people think. And it's all Christian based. So just to let you guys know, if you guys are looking for a safe place to learn more about this kind of stuff, it's truly an amazing place. They actually did a devotion series where they sat down right there and they just spoke from their heart. And it's really, really cool. It's a great community. So I encourage everybody that's watching this live or on the replay on YouTube, get in contact with the two of you. I mean, I'm not saying we got to go now, but if you kind of just want to let everybody know the best way to get a hold of you guys besides the group, you guys are starting a new program that you might want to mention.
Sure.
But the community is a great place to start to get to know you guys even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few things. Number one, you can go to our free community. This is a community that's growing every day. I think we're over 200 people now. Yeah, we have devotional series we do in there on an ongoing basis. We have all kinds of free resources in there that teach you how to navigate plant-based nutrition for heart health. We have fitness tips in there. We have ways to manage your stress. We have an amazing community environment. It's no drama, all safe, to say what you need to say, ask the questions you need to ask. If you're not quite plant-based yet and you're just trying to figure it out, we're not going to throw you out and be like, too bad, you're not ready yet or whatever. There's so many places on the internet that do that. It's like, oh, you're not good enough for this crowd. That is so frustrating for me because I know that it's a process. We understand 100% that this takes time to transition, and we're here to help you do that. And so is the community that we run, and we don't let any of that kind of stuff happen. So you're free to go in there and feel comfortable to ask the questions, to transition the way that you need to the plant-based healthy eating. And it really is a fun place to hang out. It's called Underdog Ninja. And we can link that to, if you like, however you're going to do it, Mike. I don't know.
Just put your links in the comments after this, and
okay, perfect.
Say hello to everybody, and that's watching. That'd be great. What are we going to say, Javi?
Oh, but more importantly, today, matter of fact, just today, we launched a brand new program. This is a group coaching program where we take them through everything I talked about. We take them through a course that takes them from that confusion stage and addresses all those issues, those mindset issues that I talked about, the nutrition and the fitness. And we take them along through that. We get on a group coaching call once a week with them and talk about their struggles and where they're having difficulty with that week. And we we get them through that. We have a separate group for them, and we just dive right in with the issues that they're having.
Yeah, I mean, this program we've had in beta actually for a few months, and people in the beta version of this, we're officially launching the full version is what's happening, because we wanted to dial it in and make sure they could really help as many people as possible, and that it was going to work the way that we wanted it to. And we haven't even had to change anything. It's really been unbelievable. These people have just been seeing results like, it's unbelievable.
If not, we pour more in.
Yeah, if not, we put more into it. Exactly. We added live cooking workshops and all this stuff. But anyway, it's a 6-week course that's involved in this too.
That's a really good one.
Go ahead.
She's really good at cooking stuff on live.
Apparently, I'm the Swedish chef because this is how I cook. I promise not to do the accent during the cooking workshops. Yes, I will. But anyway, so I do those too, and that's something we added because one of our members of our academy was just like, why don't you guys do this? And so we said, well, why don't we? And so now we teach cooking live. But yeah, I mean, it's been really, really cool experience to see these people go from just absolutely lost to thriving. These people are just crushing their lives. It's amazing, and their goals. But we take people through all the way through understanding completely how to navigate nutrition, fitness, managing your life, your family, stress, having more focus and energy. Imagine, having all of those things tackled and having a community and a family around you that would help you to keep accountable. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tight-knit community. Again, we have those live coaching calls every week, so it's really supportive. And this is a program that we rolled out today. It's a 3-month program. So, the live about all the details of that is on my profile, and in the free group that I'm going to put the link up to, there's another, I shared it into our group, so you can find that there. But we're going to be going live all week on this program, talking about the bonuses that are coming with it, that are just for this launch. The launch ends on September 12th, so that's when the window is. There's going to be discounts and, like I said, bonuses. If you get into that free group, you get extra bonuses, so do that. But it's going to be something that we're teaching about all week long. So stay tuned on my page for that as well. But we also have a nonprofit website that has more free resources as well.
Right. And, look, I'll say this. I want to say this. I want to be very clear that we love our doctors. We love our healthcare providers. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I absolutely love my doctors. So I'm not coming against them at all. I mean, there's just like anything in life, there's good and there's bad. And there's good doctors, there's bad doctors. And that's just the truth. But there's some good doctors. Thank goodness I've been blessed with some really good doctors, skilled doctors. But the fact is, I see a gap. I see a gap between the provider and the patient. That oftentimes the doctor's doing everything that they could, everything that they can. And what that means is they're giving you medicine and hoping that you'll get the rest of your life straight.
Right.
And the fact is they can't guide you. They're taking you as far as they can, and they can't necessarily sit with you and talk with you and get you through the other things that you need to do, right? And that's where we come in. That's where we fill that gap. That's my mission, is to help the patient to put themselves in a good enough position that when they're treated by their doctor, they know where their lipid level is, that it's improved. They know what their blood pressure is. They know what stressors are going on in their lives and how to manage them. And so if they do, say the disease continues for some reason, or they do have a heart event, they know that they have put themselves in the best position to fight.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes what I've learned, sometimes this disease, because it's so aggressive, it gets the better of you sometimes. But I've won some major battles over this disease. And finally, I feel like I'm taking the ground back that it's taken from me. And, I a lot of times I talk about it in that way, kind of like I'm in a fight, because really I am. I'm in a fight for my life, And I think other warriors out there will understand what I'm talking about.
I think that one of the main things that we teach, we want to impart to people is that, look, we can't want this for people. We can't do it for people. We can't, we do want it for you, but we can't want it for you bad enough that it works. You have to take action. You can have all the knowledge in the world, all of the programs. You can spend millions of dollars on programs. You can buy all the books. You can go on the internet. You can do whatever research you feel like you need to do. But unless you take action and make a decision and be brave and do the things for your health you need to do, and you do it with a serious decision, a serious commitment, it won't happen. And we know that that's really hard. And so we want to be the community for people, and the direction and the accountability and the mentors and the support system, the safety rope, the life raft, whatever you want to call it, for people that when they are having those days and they're just like, guys, I can't do this today. And we lift them up, we pick them up. You know, the tide rises all boats.
Right.
And that's what we want to be, is we want to have everybody go up together, do this together. We are not a doctor. We are not, you know, nutritionists. We're not specialists. We're not cardiac rehab. Yeah.
We're just like you, in the fight, trying to live our lives as best as we can. And that's all we are.
It's funny though, but people listening to some of the stuff, you're saying things to me, Jessica, I didn't even know existed. Like, I learned a lot even before we went on this video. I was telling you guys, I want to, you know, learn some things from you guys. So this has been really, really super cool. You guys are awesome, and you guys are totally inspiring. I have a feeling this is not the last video that we're going to do together. I just have a feeling, because it was just like so natural.
He likes us.
No, I hope not. You know, I appreciate us being able to speak to your community. You know, as much, you know, I really appreciate you reaching out to us, and I hope that your audience gets something out of this. This resonates with you guys, and but yeah, I look forward to our next conversation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, you know, when you connect with someone and all your values align, and then you have a similar connection with the heart thing, it was you know, God puts people in your life for a reason, right? In a season.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely,
100%.
Yeah. All right, you guys, listen, you guys are amazing. So everybody that's watching this here, thank you so much for tuning in. This is definitely a longer video than I normally do, but there was so much value and so much amazing information. I learned a lot. And feel free to let people know that this video was shot here today, and you can invite them, people that you know, like, or care about. I'm sure they would love to hear about this video. So share the love on that. And thank you for liking and subscribing our YouTube channel, because it's going to be on YouTube as well. So with that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys are awesome.